Welcome back to the C-Space studio here at CES 2026. I'm your host, James Kotecki, here with iHeartMedia's Chief Business Officer, Lisa Coffey. Welcome to the C-Space studio.
Thanks for having me.
It's so great to have you. We've spoken to other folks from iHeartMedia in the past, this is your first time here in the C-Space studio. We're so glad to have you. What brings you and what brings iHeartMedia to CES 2026?
Yeah, we're here talking about our guaranteed human promise. What does that mean? It means all of our content, our radio hosts, our podcast, everything is going to be guaranteed human, nothing artificially created. Obviously, AI is going to be one of the biggest conversations here at CES this week, and rightfully so. AI makes us smarter, better, faster, but it also has pushed consumers and humans to really gravitate towards these live experiences, live trusted content. Trust is one of the biggest things that's coming up with the creation of AI, and so we're really leaning into that messaging. The second part is we currently have a product in beta right now called Audiograph. Very exciting time for the industry because what we're doing is making broadcast radio addressable, measurable, and programmatically transactable for the industry at large. So we're really excited about that. And so what we're doing here is marrying a mass scale medium of audio with precision and accountability that tech is giving us.
And just to remind folks, and correct me if I'm wrong, iHeartMedia is all about radio stations all around the United States and live events all around the United States. Can you just maybe explain the full scope of what?
Yeah, so we have 850 personalities, close to that, in radio stations.
Real human personalities.
Real human. 10,000 events. We get really down into local markets. What we have, while we're very national in nature for sure, the connection and the trust that we have in local communities is like nothing else because we're really in so many markets. In time of crisis, people turn to radio to understand what's happening. And so that allows us to get at the event level as well, local market, sports programming, so ton of great assets and content that we produce.
I like the idea of a guaranteed human promise. As a human who wants to keep doing my job too, I like the idea of guaranteeing that. But I'm curious, who are you promising that to? Do you explicitly say that to consumers? Do you run ads on radio stations saying this is all human stuff, or is that a promise made to advertisers? Or
We do.
You do. Okay.
Yes, it's both.
Tell me more.
Actually. So you'll start, if you hear an iHeart radio station, you will hear a tag at the end saying guaranteed human.
Yes.
You also hear it in our podcast. So it's a tag that we've added at the end of everything, and it's. When I tell you it's resonating with clients like nothing else I've ever seen. We've had clients say, good move, really smart. Because so everybody's being caught up, and people know when they're being, fed the news algorithm or the music algorithm, and they're hearing and listening to the same music over and over, and they're not getting that new discoverability. And so the guaranteed human is really resonating.
Do you think human consumers, well, it's funny I say human consumers, I guess you could talk about agentic AI consumers at some point.
Right.
But when we think about consumer perceptions of AI, have you felt or seen a real shift? Because I guess if I was having this conversation with someone here in the C-Space studio 2 years ago, it might have been a guaranteed AI promise, right? We're so excited about the promise of this. So what do you think has happened, and what does that point to where things are going as far as the shift? Because AI is certainly not going anywhere. It's continuing to get better, and it's going to keep progressing.
I hope it does.
So I'm curious about your sense of how that has shifted and where that is shifting.
Yeah, so we have because we talk to consumers every day, 24/7 basically, we do over 50,000 studies, consumer studies a year. And in October, we did a study called Human Consumer. And it was eye-opening, and yet really not shocking, because what we've seen is that consumers are now distrust the news. They feel more isolated than ever because of social media. They liked social media better when it was just about family and friends. And so we've really seen the reverse trend. Like, technology is important. Everybody wants it. Everybody loves it. But the consumers are really demanding more of that human connection. And that is, why we're leaning into it, because of what the consumers are telling us. And so while 70% of consumers are using AI, 90% want their media from a real human. And so the stats we've learned were really we're using to lean into and deliver to our consumers in the way that they want.
That's interesting. I mean, does it speak to also changing patterns of attention? You know, if people think that something is, if people see something as too AI generated, they kind of shift their attention elsewhere.
Yes.
And sub-question, do we need to also zoom out and not just talk about attention patterns in terms of AI, but just what, you know, even if you take AI out of the picture, just kind of how consumer patterns are changing overall?
Yes, no, it's absolutely right, and why, any brand can be one swipe away from being removed from what they're viewing, and so the algorithm is, well, people love it. People are moving more towards that live and craving that.
So tell me about the work that you're doing with creators and influencers now, and how those humans are kind of brought into the conversation.
Yep. So iHeart is the original influencer network, if you think about it. Yeah. I live in New York, listen to Z100 in the morning, Elvis Duran, or Charlemagne.
People connecting with these specific personalities.
They connect, and really when you start to, when you think about influencers and you listen to the radio in the morning and you're like, oh my God, they're bringing up topics of what's new, what's relevant, like what happened yesterday, what's happening right now. They have consumers call in and all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is actually an influencer network. And so number one, that's very cool to understand. But what's new for us is that TikTok approached us, right? Here you have one of the largest social media platforms with millions of influencers who approached iHeart because influencers want that live element. They want new platforms. They want to get additional scale. And so we created a partnership that's launching this year, which is really cool. We're going to be creating 25 influencer-created podcasts. Mm-hmm. We're going to be creating TikTok radio and marrying TikTok influencers with our radio personalities to really start to cultivate the culture from these live moments that are happening. We'll also have them at our live events, and this gives brands tremendous opportunity to appear at these live events in ways that they can use their influencers or net new influencers. So.
And this is where those maybe conceptual silos of like traditional, old school, new school, emerging media, it all kind of breaks down, right? Because it's all media. And from a consumer perspective, they probably don't really care. They're just turning on a button and getting what they want to get. And what you're talking about is really bringing everything together into one pot.
Yeah, it's really, I think it's going to be a very cool program for us in 2026.
Do you want to talk more about your programmatic offering too that you're doing here? Tell us more about the significance of that for brands and advertisers.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, Audiograph, which we have in beta right now. Why I'm most excited about this opportunity is one thing that people don't realize is only 30% of audio is in programmatic pipes or available programmatically, right? And so what you're really talking about are podcasts and streaming. Mm-hmm. And if only 30% of audio is available, that leaves 70% that is still, the heavy lifting of IOs and transacting in that way. And so making that other 70% addressable and measurable really levels the playing field and puts the inventory in the pipes and at the fingertips of buyers and traders and measurable in the way that the industry expects and is demanding. And so we're really excited. iHeart's really excited to come to the table with that offering. And what that'll do also is increase audio inventory by 400%. So you're not no longer looking at having to just look at streaming. You can actually be part of the live programming throughout the day, whether it be Olympics, World Cup, all of the things that we also do outside of just talk radio and music. So.
This is something we've talked about in the C-Space studio before. Is there still a gap between the consumption of audio and the amount of advertising dollars that go into audio?
Yeah, simple stat. Audio is 31% of a consumer's day. And so it's not 31% of media budgets. And so there's tremendous opportunity.
Of their media day or of their day?
Of their day.
That kind of tracks for me. If I'm just walking around,
I've got media day.
Okay. Well, for me, maybe it is 31% of my day. Like I love to have my headphones on, listening to music all the time, or podcasts, or what have you. But thank you so much for spending time of your day here with us,
Great
Lisa Coffey of iHeartMedia. Really appreciate you being here in the C-Space studio.
Thanks so much.
And thank you so much for joining us. We're taking a break, but after that, we're going to be back with Qualcomm, United Underwriters Laboratory, ULSE, I'm so sorry about that, Warner Brothers Discovery, and Intuit SMB Media Labs. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you then. I'm James Kotecki here at the C-Space studio at CES 2026. It's Underwriters Laboratory. That's what it is. We'll be back with them soon, too.